Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again from Film Fanatic headquarters. It's about 9:48. Hope everyone's doing good. It's a pretty warm day actually. We had a little bit of a break from the cold, so it's been pretty nice. We had a nice little snowstorm yesterday. Got about 5 or 6 inches, so it was pretty nice. But then it warmed up, so it made things travel-wise a little bit easier. Had a delay at work, 2 hour delay, but that doesn't really affect me. But it was cool. It was nice to have some snow, or it is nice to have some snow, and where it's not painfully cold to be outside. So anyway, today is a big show. I've been wanting to do this kind of a show for actually a really long time. Finally, feel like I'm kind of set up to get it going. So I had a couple of attempts at the show at putting together this show yesterday, but I had some technical problems and a couple of snafus, and I had to scrap it. I did two kind of full takes of this video, and so fingers crossed things go better. But today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a tour, a Film Fanatic tour of my movie collection, my entire movie collection, my DVDs, Blu-rays, and some VHS. It's been my space where I keep all my movies is in my bedroom, but it's been for the last 3 or 4 months. It's been in total disarray. I About 3 or 4 months ago, I like totally ran out of space with movies, movie space. So I was like, yeah, it was kind of a mess. So I had like piles of movies, and it was kind of a disaster. And the main part was I basically ran out of places to put them. So that's a thing, and I understand that's one of the reasons people are, why people stream things and don't do everything, have gone the full on digital route, because obviously you don't have all of that stuff to pack and all of those things. I'm a tactile person. I love artwork. I like holding those things. So it's interesting. The one thing that's different for me now is I love to read, and I haven't been able to really sit down and read a book for a long time, and I attribute it to, well, a lot of stuff that I went through with COVID. My attention is really weird. My attention span's really weird, and I love to read, but I couldn't read for the longest time. Like I could read, but only a page a day, and it would just like I couldn't really concentrate on things. So I started doing audiobooks, and audiobooks are amazing. And I find that I mean that's kind of like streaming, I guess, but that is really working for me. So the idea of buying more books, like again, I love the tactile thing, but as far as my way of enjoying a story, that seems to work. But so I understand that people who stream and people who wanna have that just pure auditory experience. But anyway, so I got some new shelving around Christmas time from Santa Claus. Luckily, I wasn't too naughty this year or last year. So I got the the new shelving set up, and then gradually I was kind of picking away at putting the movies in an order and trying to clean up the space, get it a little bit more organized, because it literally was a big giant pile of movies in total disarray for a while, like on my floor. It was kind of gross and pretty annoying, because I couldn't find it. I'd go to look for a movie and I couldn't find it, and all that shit. So got it set up, and I was slowly picking away at it. And then last week I finished organizing all the movies and shelving all the movies. And so yeah, now it's all set. So now it's like I feel like I'm in the Zen space, at least with that. So very feng shui. But I separated the categories. I have quote unquote my big budget Hollywood movies, my normal movies. I have those in one section. I've, for the most part, separated Blu-rays from DVDs, for obvious reasons. And so I have like my normal movies in one area, and then my horror and exploitation collection is in its own kind of place. And I started buying DVDs, many, many years ago, about 15 or 20 years ago. And then about probably 7 years ago or so, I started buying Blu rays. I was kind of late to the game. I still buy DVDs, but my main focus is Blu ray. I did a show last night, it's been up. I did a show on seeing David Cronenberg's Videodrome on 4K at a friend's house, my friend's Alfred's house. I don't own any 4Ks, but I was fucking blown away by how incredible it looked. So we'll see, but I don't really want to have to get multiple copies of another movie. That's the only thing that's so daunting, because then that's even more space it's going to take up. But I always use this example, but like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I have like multiple copies of that movie. I have it on VHS. I have a DVD. I have a standard DVD. Then I have collector's edition, anniversary special DVD, steelbook version of it on DVD, standard Blu-ray version, and then I have an anniversary version of it on Blu-ray. So now if I get it, I'm gonna have to get it on 4K. So that means I have like 7 copies of the same movie, which is kind of insane. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But I'm really, really happy with the Blu-ray format. I think it's, just kind of the ultimate way to see a movie. The quality, the picture, the sound. So I basically set everything up that way where it's organized, but it's not, I don't have everything super organized to the point where everything's alphabetized, which, would be a good thing to do, but I do have it separated from like normal movies to my exploitation films. That is that I obviously don't have as many exploitation movies as I do with my other films, just because I've always loved those movies and I've always had some, but it wasn't until the last probably 5 years that I really dove fully into wanting to collect as many of those movies as I can, all as many exploitation movies as I can, because mainly because we're living, as if you're a film fanatic and a collector, we're living in this crazy renaissance, and all of these super underground gems have been released through all the boutique labels. Super rare, the rarest of the rare, and so it's just amazing. And I love taking a super deep dive into the murky depths. So that's been my goal the last 4 or 5 years, is to try to really beef up that part of my collection. Those movies, that genre is my favorite. Still love normal movies, don't get me wrong, but I still will buy them here and there, but my main focus is exploitation. So I don't have as many because it's only been in the last 5 or 6 years of where I've really dove into it. So I'm going to take everyone on a little tour for anybody who's interested on my movie collection, and I'll generally talk about some movies that are right there in the camera, and just give a little general synopsis on each thing. Not try to take up too much time because it's quite a few movies. So this will be fun, and we'll start this in a couple of minutes. So yeah, first up for the little tour here, this is a set of the real deal tablas. I actually went to India about 15 years ago or so. I had a girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend from a long time ago, actually lived in India. She still goes to there to live and to stay. And I went there once with her, and I stayed there for almost 2 months, and it was one of the most intense and one of the most wild experiences I ever had. And so in my travels there, I picked up a set of tablas because, why not? When in India, pick up some real deal tablas. I've never learned how to play them, but maybe someday. So working my way down here, I have some VHS tapes. I don't I don't really watch VHS anymore. The quality of VHS is kind of, well, pretty bad. And so, now one of the things that's happened, there's a lot of hipsters that think VHS is the way to go, but the quality for the audio and the sound is actually just pretty horrid. So I have a ton of VHS. I have probably almost 150, 200 tapes still. I might get rid of these, but we'll see. I have upgraded some of these guys to DVD and Blu-ray. I do have quite a few, and there are some really good ones that I have here, but the quality's just not great. And so I also had a VHS player for a long time, but it died about a year or two ago. And I have another player, VHS player, but I just, you can't. Once you discover Blu-ray 4K, it's like, why go back? So, but I got some on display. The rest of my VHS tapes are all in kind of storage in a big trunk. But these are some that I have here. And then working my way down here, this is the first of some of the first DVDs I ever bought. And I got these probably about 15 years ago. I got Rosemary's Baby, Mystic River, and Caprica, Young Frankenstein, of course, by Mel Brooks, one of the greatest comedies ever. Vanilla Sky, Tom Cruise, which is an awesome movie. Ronin, Robert De Niro. So this was like these were some of the first VHS, or I should say, sorry, DVDs I ever bought. And so these date back quite a few years, probably like, 15 years ago or so. And then working my way down here, these are a lot of the Blu-rays that I have. And I have, a lot more now. But this was kind of the first, big leap into Blu-ray. I have some newer ones and some older ones, Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. The Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster, which is actually really great. Hostels, which is a great film. And I Am Legend, Will Smith. I have quite a few Blu-rays here. All Is Lost, Robert Redford. So I have some of the Purge films on Blu-ray. I also have probably one of my most prized possessions is Alien, the Aliens box set. I have that on DVD, but I made a big upgrade and got that on Blu-ray. And that's amazing. The first two are just legendary. This one here, which I'll show real quick, is one of my favorite DVDs. This is a DVD, but this is one of my favorite music DVDs of all time. That is Bad Brains, live at CBGB's in 1982. One of the most intense performances ever by any band, and one of the greatest bands ever in history of music, punk rock music especially. Yeah, amazing. I would love to get this an upgrade of this. I only have this DVD copy, but the quality is really fantastic. So yeah, and I also have quite a few Marvel movies here thrown in. And this is I'm a big Marvel movie fan, MCU fan, so I have most of those now on Blu-ray. Getting down here, which is the bottom shelf, this is, again, it's pretty mixed. There's a lot of Blu-rays and there's a lot of DVDs in here. Mad Max, the original, kickoff to the George Miller franchise. I have Minority Report with Tom Cruise on DVD. A lot of these that I have, that you see here, or that you can see, are DVDs. And I have, since a lot of time has gone by, I have made some big upgrades, and I have a lot of these films on Blu-ray now. Joss Whedon's Serenity, based off of the TV show. I love that show and that movie. Soldier, Paul Anderson, such an amazing action movie with Kurt Russell. So I have quite a few DVDs. Obviously, DVDs are almost, they probably are still in the majority here. And this, I have some documentaries. This documentary here, which I'm going to show you, is one of my favorites of all time. Do this without knocking everything over. This guy here, For All of Mankind, is, I have this. This is a Criterion collection. This is a DVD. I would love to get an upgrade, but this is one of the most remarkable and astounding documentaries ever made. Just amazing. Highly, highly recommend it. I did a show on this a couple of years ago, but amazing film. That's one of my favorite docs. Definitely need to get an upgrade on that guy. And then sliding over here, this is the bottom shelf here of the second aisle here. And these are, again, there's some mixed DVDs in here and some Blu-rays. I have Das Boot right here, which is one of the greatest war movies ever made, probably the greatest submarine film ever made. This is one of my favorite movies. I need to probably get this on. Well, I need to get this. Definitely need to get an upgrade for this. The Last Temptation of Christ. Martin Scorsese, Willem Dafoe, just an amazing, remarkable. It's a remarkably powerful film. And again, these are all my, for the most part, these are my quote unquote kind of normal movies. I have a lot of foreign films too thrown in, as well as, like I said, a lot of documentaries. Children of Men, which is such an amazing film. And then this film here, which I believe I got, yes, I did. I got an upgrade of it on Blu-ray, and which is just amazing. This is one of my favorite horror films of all time. I believe I've done one or two shows on this movie. I probably will do another one. But Takashi Miike's The Audition, one of the greatest horror movies, Japanese horror films ever made, and it's just so terrifying. One of my favorite directors, Takashi Miike. So I got, a mixed thing. I got another film in here that I really, really love a lot, which I need to get an upgrade, and that is A Simple Plan. It's a film directed by Sam Raimi. Just an astoundingly fucking awesome film. And I also have a lot of anime or animated superhero films. I do have a lot of Japanese anime as well, but these are a lot of American superhero animated movies, which are really great. This is a pretty cool one. I have a lot of Batman. Batman is my favorite character of all time in the history of comic book characters. This is super awesome. This is one of the best ones here. It's like a collection of 5 or 6 like shorts, more or less short movies about the Batman character. Amazing. But I think I definitely do need to get an upgrade of that on Blu-ray. I have made some upgrades. And then getting up here, getting a little bit to the second part here, to the bigger shelf. This section here has this is all mostly DVDs. I have this really awesome movie called Sleepwalker, which is a really awesome, like, kind of slow burn independent film, like it's a pretty mysterious movie, but really cool, really interesting. I actually have this, and I need to get this as an upgrade. This is an awesome, like, compilation of live and music videos from one of my favorite electronic groups, the Chemical Brothers. Definitely need to get an upgrade of that, but that's really awesome, really great quality. But mostly this section here is all DVDs. I have Slayer, Still Raining, which is a live concert of theirs. Donnie Darko. Hero with Jet Li, which is an amazing martial arts film. Starman from John Carpenter, Untouchables. Lots of different things here thrown in. Dark City, On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando, American Werewolf in London, Fight Club, Slither, The Paperboy, which is such an awesome movie with Nicole Kidman and John Cusack. And then working my way up here, I have, again, these are all DVDs here. And Absolute Power, which is, one of my all-time favorite films. It's a movie I always revisit. It's one of my favorite films that was directed and stars Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman's in this film as well. Oh, just such an awesome movie. I need to get that on Blu-ray. I have the Criterion collection here of Silence of the Lambs, which is, of course, what else needs to be said about Silence of the Lambs? I don't have it on Blu-ray, but that would be great to get. My favorite Scorsese film, Mean Streets, I just have it on DVD. I definitely need to upgrade. And then also this is my favorite Kurosawa film. One of my favorite directors, Akira Kurosawa. Ron, I do have this now on Blu-ray, which is super amazing. The Wire. I don't have a whole lot of television shows. I have the box set for The Godfather, but that's DVD. I need to really get an upgrade. That Godfather, of course, is my favorite movie of all time. Game of Thrones, which was good until it really wasn't. I have the Incredible Hulk TV show, which is amazing. That was one of the greatest things of my life when I was a kid. Still love it. Still holds up. And then working my way up here, we're kind of getting to some other nitty-gritty Blu-rays. Fury with Brad Pitt, which is an awesome movie. The Kill List, which is such a great film. One of the greatest kind of occult horror films. This guy right here, just an amazing film. One of the greatest occult horror films, similar to The Wicker Man. It's actually a Hammer movie, one of the later Hammer films. Getting over here, I have The Town, 28 Days Later, The Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, which is a pretty cool movie. Drive, which is such an awesome movie. I definitely need to get that an upgrade. Give that an upgrade on Blu-ray. That is such an amazing movie. John Wayne's The Searchers. I have that on DVD. This is all primarily all DVDs, and some of these are some of these DVDs I've had for a wicked long time. And then working my way up to this next aisle here. This aisle here is all, again, mostly all DVDs here. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which is an amazing film with Ethan Hawke in the bedroom. Amazing film, all shot here in Maine. I have a live Rage Against the Machine concert. To Live and Die in L.A. by William Friedkin. Amazing film. I just did a show again on Eyes Wide Shut. I have that on Blu-ray right there. By Stanley Kubrick, of course. My favorite director of all time. And then working our way up to the top here, to the top shelf, we got another big stack of DVDs, mostly DVDs here. So, Broken Embraces by Pedro Almodovar, which is an amazing film. One of my favorite directors, Pedro Almodovar. Band of Gypsies with Jimi Hendrix, one of my favorite live concerts of all time. Definitely my favorite period of Hendrix. And The Weather Underground, one of the greatest documentaries ever made. The Gremlins, American movie, just amazing. Batman The Dark Knight Returns, the deluxe edition. It's a collector's edition I got. These are all DVDs. But there's some really great ones. I have a Criterion collection of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is awesome. I still haven't actually watched that. I have Conan the Barbarian, the newer one, and then also the classic one with Schwarzenegger. Got a lot of I got quite a few TV shows, but I haven't really watched a lot of them. Mr. Robot is really great. I have a hard time getting through a lot of TV shows. My favorite show of all time is True Detective. I can watch that in one sitting. So, yeah, this guy, this last or top row of this giant second shelf is pretty much all DVDs. And then working our way here, this is the start to where we're getting into some of the real cool nitty gritty films, my favorite films. And this bottom shelf here is all pretty much all burnt copies of movies that I've gotten over the years. They're all DVDs. I got a lot of foreign films, movies that I've gotten from friends. There's like music videos. They're all. It's basically a big giant miscellaneous kind of collection. But I got a lot of foreign films. I have some horror films thrown in there, some indie horror films, but there's some good stuff in there. That stuff I've gotten. I got some. I got South Park, a bunch of seasons of that. Some anime. That stuff all of these guys I've gotten just throughout the years from friends that have like burnt movies back when people were doing that. Now that doesn't happen. So yeah, kind of a funny thing. And then getting up here, this is the start to my favorite genre of films, and that is the horror exploitation. And this guy is this is one of my favorite films of all time, Castle of the Creeping Flesh. One of the most bizarre and disturbing exploitation movies ever made. It's so sleazy and it's so bizarre. It's generally one of those films that it's not for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's just amazing. And I got this probably about 4 years ago, but oh my God, I love this movie so much. I've done a couple of shows on that, and I need to do another show. I also got this fairly recently, The Slumber Party Massacre, which is one of my favorite slasher films. Just amazing. So this row here, for the most part, is all the start to my horror exploitation collection. I actually have, these are mostly Blu-rays, but I do have some DVDs thrown in there. Attack of the Killer Clowns, and another one of my favorite Blu-rays by one of my favorite directors. This was the first movie of his that I ever saw, by the amazing Herschel Gordon Lewis. 2000 Maniacs. I got this on Blu-ray. I have all of his movies. I bought them all separately, and they are just incredible. So many great, wonderful special features packages included with all of the movies. Just amazing. And then working our way up to the row above that, which is the last row, the top row. This is where it's all full-on dirty exploitation movies. And again, exploitation movies for me is where it's at. And I got, Avenging Force. I've been getting a lot of the Cannon films from the 80s. They did all of the really cheeseball ninja movies in the 80s. I got the Pieces, which is one of my all-time favorite slashers. This is one of the most amazing Blu-rays I have. There's so many special features on here. It's just insane. One of my all-time favorite slashers. This as well, The Mutilator. This movie is just so badass. But these are all my horror exploitation films. This is the second row, and it's a little bit more stacked here with films. I got this recently. My favorite werewolf film of all time, The Howling. I got this collector's edition. This is amazing on Blu-ray. I've been looking for that for a long time. This is another movie that is just so amazing. Vigilante by Bill Luswig. Such a badass movie. And then one of the more bizarre movies that I saw and I bought recently is Paganini Horror, which is such a bizarre, low-budget, trashy horror film, but just amazing. So yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. And then now we're going to work our way over to the bigger section, which is going to be back to my quote unquote normal movies. And starting here, this is the bottom row here of these guys. And I have, this is all, for the most part, these are all like my quote unquote more normal films. But these are all Blu-rays. I got The Purge here, Annihilation, Alex Garland. Just an amazing film. The Babadook. Got a really great edition of that on Blu-ray. Such an amazing film. My favorite television show of all time, True Detective. I got this on Blu-ray. Super excited I got that. That's one of my... I can watch that anytime. And then working my way up here, the second shelf here, second aisle. This is all, again, all Blu-rays. Got Moneyball with Brad Pitt, which is an amazing sports movie. I'm not a big baseball fan, but that movie is phenomenal. I got Snatch from Guy Ritchie on Blu-ray, which is such an awesome movie. 47 Ronin, which I have not watched yet. And getting to this top shelf here, this is the last section here for this guy. This is all, again, all Blu-ray films. I got Fury Road, Mad Max, Spartacus, Apollo 13, Pet Sematary, which I just bought recently on Blu-ray, which is such an awesome movie. One of my favorite King adaptations. I got some of the Saw films, The Wolf of Wall Street, Deadpool, The Matrix, of course. It's essential. It's an essential movie for any film lover out there. Platoon from Oliver Stone. And again, these are all Blu-rays. I have this one. This is probably my most prized possession as far as Blu-rays go, and that is the Apocalypse Now, the Redux, the extended version. Just amazing. Just there's like 7 hours of special features on here, and it's just the quality is just jaw-dropping. So, and then also one of my favorite films, my favorite Batman movie, which I really just, yeah, it's my favorite Batman movie of all time, and that is The Batman with Robert Pattinson. This is an amazing addition to such an incredible film. So I got a lot of different things here, but there's some horror thrown in, but kind of keep it separated as far as the horror, the sleazy, murky depths, the films that kind of lurk in the murky depths as opposed to the more Hollywood-based kind of horror films. So, but yeah, and Ghost in the Shell, which is one of my favorite anime films. And then finally, we're going to work our way over to my favorite. Again, we're going to go back to my favorite area, and that is the world of the slimy, disgusting world of horror exploitation. And this is my favorite section. This is the second section that I have as far as as far as Blu-rays. These are all Blu-ray films here. And this is all, there's about three aisles here of that. This is one film I got a few years ago, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue. Just such a nasty little zombie movie. So freaking awesome. And again, these are all pretty much all Blu-rays. And I've bought most of these movies probably, within the last 3 or 4 years. I got Faces of Death on DVD, which is pretty awesome. That would be cool to get on that would be pretty sweet to get on Blu-ray. This is a really great compilation of these two gems of trash, The Bog and Mako, The Jaws of Death. So awesome. Really great, beautiful edition there on Blu-ray. Yeah, so many great So many great films. Night of the Demon. Yeah. I mean, and then The Siege, Spookies. Two of my favorite films. Just total trash. Dr. Butcher. And then working my way up here to the second section. What we got here, G.G. Allen, Hated on DVD. Pretty nasty movie. This is my favorite Giallo film of all time. Just a total masterpiece. Just love this. I got this last year, but oh my god, what a masterpiece! There's some great films here. This is one of the trashiest movies ever made. It might be the trashiest movie I personally own. Scream in the Streets. It's basically kind of like a porn, but it's a slasher film at the same time. But it's fucking bananas, and I just love it. I love it. Yeah, Demons I got here, of course. That's essential. I got a lot of pretty grimy exploitation movies here. Um, I got this recently, which is one of my favorite slasher movies of all time. It's another Canadian masterpiece, Curtains. I had a DVD copy of this for a long time that wasn't so great in quality wise, but I got this awesome upgrade, Curtains. Such an amazing film. Such an such an atmospheric slasher film. And then this is one of the earlier versions of Texas that I got. This is the box set, or I should say the steel book version that I got. And this is actually really, it's DVD, but it's pretty amazing. There's this, so many special features on here. It's really amazing. Another film here that I really, really love a lot, that I've watched so many times, Daughters of Darkness. This is one of my favorite. This is a vampire movie, but this is one of my favorite kind of nasty, low down, dirty, bizarro vampire movies. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's such a great film. And then working my way up here to this aisle, I got a couple of movies that I just love to death, kind of on display. Death Dream by Bob Clark. This is one of my favorite Blu-rays. Of course, put out by Bill Luswig's label, who was the director of Maniac. He's Bill Luswig's pretty much retired from making films, but he started his own boutique label, and he's been putting out all these incredible films. And this is a masterpiece here, Death Dream, just amazing, by Bob Clark. And then this is another film that is just one of my favorite films of all time. This is like one of the trashiest, most violent and brutal movies, but it's a revenge movie, and uh, it's an astounding movie. It's a masterpiece. I've seen this movie multiple times, and I really want to watch it again. But Thriller, oh, just so great. And then this is one of the sleaziest, trashiest zombie movies ever made, but it's such a masterpiece. Brutal kills, Burial Ground. I was super excited to buy this. This was put out by Severin, again, one of the big labels out there putting out all this trash. Amazing, amazing film. And I've been, anybody following the channel lately, I've been talking a lot and covering lots of Paul Naschy films, and and this was the movie Howl of the Devil that I've mentioned a few times. This was the first Paul Naschy film I ever got, that I ever saw, and he directed this movie, and he plays like 6 different roles in this movie, and this movie is just incredible. This was what did it for me. This is how I discovered Paul Naschy, and now he's like one of my favorite, actors, producers, directors. Yeah, it's been an amazing movie. This movie is so another film that's just so incredible. Without Warning, it's like an alien horror exploitation movie. It's so bizarre and just amazing. Jack Palance is in it. Oh, such an awesome movie. I've done 1 or 2 shows on that before. This movie is just brutal as all fuck. Such a great movie. Kind of a slasher serial killer movie, forced entry. It's I don't know, it's got a little bit of a porn vibe to it, but It's so good. It's such a great movie. I discovered that a few years back. Um, in the Folds of Flesh, another Mondo Macabre. This is put out by Mondo Macabre. Mondo Macabre is my favorite boutique label, and they just put out the most kind of underground films. But this is a really great movie. Kind of an I don't know, kind of a weird erotic thriller, which is great. I got a lot of horror compilations here, um, as well as and then this film here, Satan's Cheerleaders, just such an amazing film. Just oh yeah, just if you haven't seen this movie, it's one of the best horror exploitation movies ever made. So and I've been getting into a lot of Japanese films too, a lot of Japanese exploitation movies, and this is so awesome. House of Terrors, which is like kind of a Japanese ghost story, like or a Japanese haunted house movie, but phenomenal movie. Yeah, a lot of great stuff here, a lot of great films, and again, this has been my focus. I'm trying to always upgrade and build it up even more. Another film which is one of my favorite shot on video movies, and just one of the most terrible movies ever made, and one of the greatest films ever made. Suburban Sasquatch, fucking masterpiece. Um, my friend Mike Vickers turned me on to this film, and it's so insane, but just amazing. I love it. It's one of my all-time favorites. And then getting here to the final shelf, the final shelf here, or the final section, and yeah, I got some really great films here. This film here, I've done a few shows on this before, but this is Satan's Blood. This is, as far as like satanic themed horror films, this is the one. Like, this is the best. Satanic, when it comes to exploitation movies, slasher movies are my favorite, and in any film that has like some kind of a cult or quote unquote satanic element, it's a close tie, but slashers are probably a little bit ahead. But I love satanic themed exploitation movies, and this is the greatest. I mean, this is like one of the sleaziest movies ever made. It's just a masterpiece. Yeah, just a lot of great films here. I got this movie, which is such a bizarre, another Japanese film, such a bizarre movie. A haunted Turkish bathhouse. This movie is just totally nuts, amazing, from like the early '70s. Oh, so awesome. I got a lot of the Friday 13th here. Dario Argento's Inferno, which is a masterpiece. I got this a couple of years ago on Blu-ray. Just an amazing film. Reanimator, got that on DVD. I need to get an upgrade of that on Blu-ray. And way back in the corner there, Ninja 3 Domination. Just one of my favorite, probably my favorite canon films. Out of all of the great trash that they put out. So yeah, I guess this kind of concludes the little tour. Sorry for the shaky hand. Probably had a little too much coffee, but this is, I guess, kind of the end of the journey. This is, this has been fun talking about all my movies, and it's ever growing, changing, and shaping. So yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Peace.